Morning, class. Professor Kev here. So this week we talk a little bit about resumes, and I want to share my story with you. So I had been working for myself for about 10 years. I met someone through UMass Lowell who suggested I become an adjunct professor. I'm like, wow, that seems like a pretty cool opportunity. Just send us your resume. There's the problem, class. Don't have a resume. Been working for myself for 10 years. What I had was outdated. So the no AI back then. I look and go, I'll just go on Google. No big deal, right? It's easy. No, it was not. There was a lot of contradictory information out there. Then I remembered SNHU. I got my master's there. I reached out to them and asked them to help me. And the woman, Kimberly, did such an amazing job helping me. I actually, this week, when we have this assignment, I email her like once a year just to remind her how thankful I am for her help. And that she's one of the reasons I'm a professor because of Kimberly. So Kimberly helped me. I got my resume. I go for my interview. My boss at the time was like, "Your resume is outstanding." And I'm like, "Thank you, Kimberly." So what happens, class, is that resumes change over time. The two resumes you saw, I'm old enough to have lived when both of those were acceptable. Now, this week, when you look at them, you see a lot of flaws. But if you haven't written a resume in 10 years, what was popular 10 years ago probably isn't popular now. It's outdated. They'll see it and go, geez, they won't even look at your resume. It's like so outdated. Nobody uses like objective statements. Those aren't common anymore. They've been replaced by professional summary. So you have to be careful. All right, class, I'm trying to say this as nicely as possible, so please don't be offended. But don't rely on your family and friends to help you unless they are a professional resume writer. I see this with some of my students. They like get the smile like, I got an advantage. My fill in the blank, is a manager. They've seen hundreds of resumes. They know what looks good to them, to them. I know when I was a manager, I'd say a resume, I like it just because that's what I liked. Doesn't mean it's what's common and acceptable now. That's the key here. Just because you might know somebody who works in HR, I got that unfair advantage. My fill in the blank works in HR. Doesn't mean that's what's common now. A lot of times things change. Again, both of those resumes were popular back in the day. Now, if you pass in either one of those, you wouldn't even get considered. So if you need to update your resume, please use news services. It's free. Just part of being a student, part of being an alumni. It's free. And it's going to help you because why would you risk, just Googling it? I mean, now, you can use AI. I haven't done that, so I can't recommend that one way or the other. But even if you do use something or someone, double check it. Hey, this is my resume. Send it over to the folks at SNHU. What are your thoughts? That way, again, if things have gone out of style, like the objective statement, SNHU would make a suggestion for you. Class, it is your resume. You are free to do whatever you want. But if someone who's doing this for a living is telling you that you need to change it, you want to think about it. Or to find another resource. Hey, what do you think about this? Like, for instance, I live in Drake, Mass. In Lowell, Mass, we have the Mass Higher Lowell Career Center. Again, my friend Bob works there. He's a certified resume person. So if Snoo's telling you to do it, Bob's saying you should do it, you should probably do it, okay? And again, you need every advantage you can get. There's times when I'll be talking to a student that's been looking for a job for like a year. Because again, I teach at UMass Lowell, so a lot of my students graduate and go into the workforce. A little bit of a different audience than here at SNU. And a year later, they don't have a job. First thing I say is, all right, let's talk about your resume. Have you had the Career Center review your resume? Well, dude, it could simply be there's something on your resume. I remember dating myself. Sorry, going a little long here. I had a person send in their resume to me to review it. And on it, it said they knew how to use a calculator. I think it was a 10-digit calculator, whatever it was called back then. Uh, Class for you younger folks, have you even seen one? You probably haven't even seen it. It's like, no, nobody, that's not a skill anyone needs anymore. So please use the school's resources. That's the point I'm trying to make in this long-winded video today. Because for me, I wouldn't have been a professor without it. Plain and simple. I would have looked at Google and tried to put something together and been like, ah, it's good enough. There's no such thing as good enough on your resume. You want to have the best resume possible because you're competing with a lot of people for this job. If their resume is more polished than yours, they're probably going to get the interview and you won't. So if you need to start using your resume, please, please, please use it. It's free. Even if you decide you don't want to listen to the advice. But again, if you're like some of my students who've been looking for a job for a year, and you're telling me that you didn't like their advice, I'm going to say the advice may have been right. Also, they help you with interviewing skills. I don't know about you all, but when I have to interview, I get really nervous. And I start to ramble like I'm doing today, chuckle, chuckle. And you maybe give an example you shouldn't have, or told a story that you really didn't need to tell, and you see the guy, all right, you're kind of going on a little bit here. So interview skills are important. So just wanted to share this advice. Again, please reach out to me if you need them. All right, class, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a truly dazzling day.